Anthony, haven't been able to speak for you for a while. Just talk about what the event is and the benefits of coming to an event like this.
Yeah, it's an amazing event tonight. All we see is Gold Foundation and U.S. Wrestling Foundation. What they're doing to support wrestling, to support the youth coming up. That's what it's all about. This sport has taught me so much in my life. It's given me so many blessings and opportunities. And I know these guys feel the same way. That's why everybody's here, because of the great sport of wrestling and what it does for young men and women coming up. That's what we're all about, giving back.
This event, you're able to really see opportunities and be able to give back opportunities. What you talk about, changing lives. Talk about changing lives and what this is going towards and kind of the benefits of that.
Absolutely. The youth in the area, through the sport of wrestling, I know me personally, I grew up in a rough area to where there are a lot of distractions, a lot of negative things, and wrestling helped me to focus on the positive things. And also, it taught me things in my life, valuable skills that I could use in my life. And that's what we're here for today to support, is giving back to these kids, giving them those positive opportunities to learn things on the mat, but also learn skills that they can take away off the mat to be successful in their lives, to be mentally tougher, to be more disciplined, more accountable, and just all around just better human beings. I think we all know what this sport produces, young men and women who can become champions on and off the mat, and that's why we're so excited just to be able to give back tonight and support.
Speaking of support, obviously, those young athletes turn into NCAA, wrestlers, and you're here this weekend, obviously, another NCAA tournament. Talk about your feelings of another tournament going to and seeing, these young men become champions.
I'm fired up to be here this weekend. This NCAA tournament, this is actually my first tournament that I get to just be as a wrestling fan. I was either wrestling or I was commentating. So with it being back here in Philadelphia, I really want to soak in the moment. But, I just have a ton of respect for these athletes, these wrestlers, because they dedicate their lives to this journey. This wrestling lifestyle. They put so much into it. There's a lot of intensity that goes into it, a lot of price that you have to pay, a big price you pay. But to see these guys compete over the weekend, it's all about just giving their best at the end of the day. And I think there's a respect among all of them, just knowing how much it takes to be successful at this level, and they've done that. So, it's just I see it as a big family reunion at the end of the day. Wrestlers coming back just to celebrate the great sport and how tough it is.
And obviously, you just said it yourself, you were either an athlete or commentating. Now that you can kind of relax and be a fan, is there memories that come back at, whether it's an athlete or commentating that, just really sparks up a great moment for you?
There's definitely memories that pop back. It'll be coming to me all weekend, I believe. Just visiting the Rocky Steps. Even just being in the arena, just the smell of the wrestling mats, and when they roll out that red carpet, when they sing the national anthem, the emotions just flood. And it's just those moments that I think as an athlete, I know me personally, I dreamt of those moments. I visualized those moments when I was in practice, when I was grinding and, just struggling through mentally just to find that next level. I was like, how good is it going to feel to be in that moment? And, to see that moment this weekend, to be able to celebrate it with the other wrestling fans, with the current wrestlers that are out there, it's very special. It's a unique opportunity, and I'm just honored to be a part of it.
And finally, obviously, you had a big movie come out, and obviously about you. And what were your thoughts about it? And obviously, people seeing that movie probably inspired a lot of others, right?
The film was amazing. Just to have that opportunity, it was exciting and terrifying, to be honest with you. Because you figure, wow, they're telling a movie about my life, but at the same time, it's they're telling a movie about my life. And not just the happy moments, not just the victories. It was the painful things. It was the struggles that not just myself but my family went through. But I believe it was beautifully done. I'm so grateful for the cast, for the crew who came together to tell our story in a way that we would be proud of it. And so, just to be able to see the finished product, I believe it achieved the ultimate goal, which I wanted to show people that, it doesn't matter what you're wrestling in life. What matters is how you respond to it, how you react. And what my mom always told me, she said, you never let a challenge become an excuse. And that's what Unstoppable, that's what the message is behind this film. And I'm just blessed to have the opportunity to share it with the world now.